right, everybody. Todd Horwitz. Listen, Bubba, the markets are kind of dumping here today. Not a fun day. Lots going on. President getting dumped on in Davos. European leaders around the world are smacking on him a little bit. Greenland, he says, is still on the thing. And he is talking right now, talking about oil and Venezuela. Talk to me, brother. What's going on?
Well, I mean, I don't think the dump is that big of a deal. I mean, we're still within a range of consolidation. There's been no real damage done. You know, the selling started yesterday on the MLK holiday. As you know, markets are open every day now. So, look, I don't think it's anything major to worry about here until we break down. I mean, if you take a look, you want to see a market that's breaking down, look at the interest rate markets. Notes and bonds have both collapsed. And, of course, interest rates are flying. We're now at about 4.25 in the 10-year, and with the last two or three rate cuts, the rates are up. So where's the benefit for you and me, the guy who's trying to borrow money? At the end of the day, these markets are just pretty stable, and a sell-off is not a surprise. The deal will be is if we break below 6,800 in the S&P, if we break below 25,000 in the NASDAQ, then maybe there'd be something to be worried about. But right now, this is probably an opportunity to buy.
Okay, so you're not scared. As I always say, I ain't scared. And I did buy myself. I just bought TQQ here. Talk to me a little bit. What's going through the minds of the average American right now who are seeing this in real time? I mean, right now he's talking about Venezuela, but he said that they've been working well with him. But you look at this fight with Europe, the isolationist of policies. That doesn't seem to be the narrative that we want to do, right? I mean, it can't be, right?
You know, again, you and I are on different sides of this whole topic.
That's why you're here, my man. That's why you're here.
I'm not afraid. If you ask me, I'd like the United States to be an island. Okay, that's me. I'm not concerned. I'm tired of supporting the Russian
passport now, Bubba, because you're not going anywhere. You're gonna be stuck here in this island of the United States. We don't want that. Come on, man. Seriously.
Look, I'm tired of being taken advantage of by other countries. I'm tired of our tax dollars going everywhere but here. We got enough problems in this country that our money should be staying here and being taken care of the people here. We've got so many big problems on the horizon with the lack of jobs we're going to have, with the potential to universal basic income, which is not a good thing. We need to take care of business at home first. I am a supporter, impartial to some of the things that the president is doing. Do I agree with everything he's doing? No, I do not. But I do. We talked about this last week. I do believe Greenland is an issue, and it would be nice to get a hold of it. I don't necessarily like the way he's going after it, but I think that the European countries, I think that they're making a mistake by not supporting or at least participating and talking to him. And we know this, and we know that he does things a little bit brash and goes right with the tariffs. But at the end of the day, okay, it would be better for everybody if the United States controlled Greenland and controlled that part of our defensive port.
Okay, well, then you're with the president. I agree with that. I mean, I think that Greenland should be a part of the narrative, but how we're going about this, I think, is the wrong way. That's
I agree. Listen, okay. Again, I'm not saying that he's doing everything right. We know that he is more of a businessman than a politician, which I actually appreciate. We know that he's pissed off a lot of people in his entire career. Forget about politics, because he is a little bit brash and he has a little bit of a big mouth when he starts talking about certain things.
I don't have a problem with that. You are the president. You have the bully pulpit, but as I keep saying, act presidential and not act like a bully.
Well, again, I always wonder what is presidential. I mean, when we go back in history,
calm. I think that's what you need to be, is calm, right? I mean, you don't want to hear this brashness when you got ministers of other countries, you know, our allies dropping F-bombs on parliamentary floors. There's a problem here, right?
I could look at that, but again, I'm not afraid to. You know me, I'll speak my mind anywhere.
Yeah, that's why we're here. Yeah, I love it.
You know, all right, I have no problem with dropping F-bombs to anybody, and I have no problem telling you what I think. So I support a lot of the ways he goes about things, because I think politics is one thing, and you're from the political world, but I think politics is one thing, but I think trying to be nice and trying to be perfect to everybody is not the right way to go. I think sometimes you got to speak your mind, and I'll support that.
Yeah, I had no problem with that. And of course, we speak our mind here on Quasar Market, so it separates us from everybody else. We're not tend to disagree. We love it. I love.
That's why your station is the best, because we aren't putting an opinion because of our political views. We're talking directly about markets and giving
how to make money. That's right. how do we make money off
I
this?
have no interest in the news networks. That's why I watch and listen to Quasar Markets, because at least here I get a fair shot. I get somebody's real opinion. It doesn't have to be a narrative, whether I'm a Republican or whether I'm a Democrat or whether I'm this. I'm getting a straight shot about markets, which is what I care about, because I care about the money.
That's right. Absolutely. We care about making the noise go away and filtering that sucker so that we understand how to make money off of this. And it's not always about just money. It's about understanding the signals, as we point out. And okay, so let's talk about that then. What is it you're doing here at this juncture, and knowing that the market's Dow's at 800 points here, NASDAQ's down, and the president is still speaking. So what are you doing here now to protect yourself or making a position here?
Well, I'm always protected, Big Beat. I always have a hedge on against my overall portfolio. So let's say that 90% of my net worth is always protected to an absolute mathematical certainty. And I bought a lot of stock today into the sell-off, not because I'm out there buying it, but because I have a program that says, oh, this stock is down 3%. We need to roll down our hedge and buy more. But from a trader standpoint, I mean, I've dipped my toes in here. I'm long right now. I bought before we got on. I've already got profits locked in, and I've got stops. If you hear noise go out, that means I'm getting stopped out. But I'm buying stuff when it's three standard deviations from the mean on a 4-minute chart. That's what I'm buying. And right now I am long as we are speaking.
Okay. Bubba is buying, and I'm with you. I'm long now. I'm going long in the close here. I think that the selling is done. I think the nonsense retail is done their thing, but you also might have said, hey, other countries are selling too into this, Bubba. Daneland and Danish have already said that they're going to get rid of all their, if not all of it now, their bonds as fixed income as well as stocks in us. And the sovereign fund that he's absolutely pissing off is the largest in the world, which is Norway, right? He's complaining about not getting a Nobel Peace Prize, and Norway has the biggest sovereign wealth fund.
Can we be clear and honest about something? They can't sell, okay? Maybe they're making a token threat that they're going to sell our treasuries. Where are they going to go, okay? This is the problem. We talked about this. This is the deal. We owe so much. The debt is so high that if they try to force the hand of the United States, we could wipe them out, because we could devalue. I'm not saying we would, and I'm not saying it's a good idea, but they're at risk if they try to get too cute. I think this is more rhetoric. I think this is more of a stance to say, hey, we can do this, but they really can't do it. This is the old story that we are so deeply indebted. They hold so much of our treasuries that there's nothing they're going to be able to do about it.
Okay, so they dump our treasuries, cost us, and now 10-year now up to 4.287% right now. That's hurting us. It's hurting people that want to buy homes. It doesn't hurt me, but it hurts people.
It doesn't hurt me either. And the truth of the matter is that if you would let the free markets trade and eliminate the Federal Reserve, that are a bunch of criminals, and I don't care what anybody says, their policies are ridiculous. There is no reason that interest rates should be lower. The market tells you that interest rates should be higher. The only interest rate that I agree with for President Trump on is not capping. Actually, it's not interest rates, but it's energy. I believe that our energy bills should be paid for by the corporations that are using AI because of the power that they use. We should not be responsible.
Come on now, Todd. You know damn well that we're gonna the consumer always ends up paying the bill.
Well, but is that the right way to go? Are we using it? No. This is the whole problem in this country now, Big B, is that we don't have a chance for the small business to start from scratch and move up. Okay. It's very difficult because of the cost, because everything is cost prohibitive. And even now in the energy cost, you can't have a small company come in and compete with the big guys now because they don't get the same pricing. Not fair.
Yeah. Trump just said he does not know how the Supreme Court will rule on tariffs. So
well, I want to know why the Supreme Courts keep punting on this. This is about the fourth cancellation.
Yeah, I agree.
Rule. They must be going to rule in Trump's favor, and they must think that's going to be a problem to the market because they are not. 4 times in a row they have now canceled when they were supposed to report, and usually that's never good news when they keep pushing it back.
Not good news to who? I mean, is it not good news?
It's not good to, let's say, to the market. You know, just like last week when JP Morgan's earnings came out. Normally they come out around 6:30 in the morning Eastern time. they pushed those earnings as close to the opening as possible because they knew those numbers were going to be bad and they wanted a more liquid market to trade it into.
Yeah, of course. All right, and I'll always wear I'm going to put one together, my tinfoil hat around here, but I have to ask, Bubba. Look, you're long in this market. I kind of agree with it going into this, but is there a chance of a crash here because of what people just get nervous here and scared at all?
I mean, there's always a chance.
Always a chance.
I think there's a lot of worries out here right now. I think if you start in the metals market that are flying once again today, but I'm seeing this more and more. If you want to sell them, you got to sell them way under spot, which is not a good thing. That's not what you bought them for. The markets are drying up there. If they start to break, I think there's a real chance that the equities could collapse too. However, we're still, if you look at a chart, you have no damage done. You are in dead consolidation. I think there's key levels to watch. Like I said, if we break 6,800 on the downside in the S&P, that might be a problem. But I think people will get too wound up and too much focused on a crash. Okay. A crash does not happen in one day. We have a lot of warning signs. We have a lot of things out there that indicate that these markets should go lower. The crash will come, but it's not coming tomorrow. Okay. Could you see another 800-point down day? Yeah, you could. But again, think of it in percentage terms. Okay. It's less than 2%. Okay. If your stock went down 2%, would anybody get nervous here? We get too focused on how big the number is. Remember, I started trading. The Dow was less than, it would be minus right now. The day I started trading, the Dow was 800. It's down 852 right now.
Yeah, I remember the days when I would wake up and you sit in your big chair and Dow be down 500 points before the open, and you're going to have a heart palpitations. Today we call that a Tuesday. Actually, down 800 is a Tuesday. I agree with that, but I also think that there could be a situation where people get nervous, right?
Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. But I don't think, here's the thing. I don't think we have that much participation. I mean, even on today. Now, today's a pretty solid sell-off, right? You'd agree with that.
Yeah, totally.
But yet, volume is still, we haven't even equated the highest volume day in the last 3 months.
That's right. That's true. Yes.
Where's the sellers? Yes, could they show up tomorrow? Yeah. But a lot of people are not participating.
Is this retail trading? Is this not? I mean, institutions can't be dumping based on this, right?
No, I don't think so. Again, the volume would indicate that this is more retail. You might have some institutions taking some positions off and rotating somewhere else. I mean, we are seeing, listen, you're seeing some pressure in NVIDIA. You're seeing some pressure in Palantir. So you're seeing the pressure in the right areas because those have been the most ballooned up. But interestingly enough, the baby sisters or the baby brothers of those stocks are rallying a little bit today. So I think this is just a normal sell-off. Maybe it's on part of the news. Maybe it's because we were overbought. Again, when you look at the bigger picture, to me, they're still going higher. And I'm pretty negative, okay? I mean, overall, I'm very negative. I believe there is a collapse coming, but I don't think it's here. And I think you're going to need a lot more. It doesn't come in one day. I think if you could take a look at the bonds and the notes, those are collapsing and the interest rates are going higher. Look at those charts. They have broken to the downside, but we have not seen that in the indexes yet. Yeah,
and money's not rotating to that in the bond market, or it come back down. Well, rates going up means it hurts cars and it hurts people that are selling homes and it hurts people that need to borrow money.
Well, did you know that more people, this is the most people in history that are rolling debt in used cars. They're rolling their debt into another car. They're behind. It's called underwater. Okay?
Underwater.
There are more people underwater in loans than never before. So what do? They go buy another car and roll what they owe. And now they have a car that's worth $10,000 that they owe $30,000 on.
Right. And that's the pretty picture. We don't understand what underwater means. That means that you owe more on the asset than you actually the machine is worth, or the house is worth, or the car.
That's the problem. And it's the same problem in the housing market. Listen, you got Rocket Mortgage and all these companies pushing out refinance. Listen, my house loan is at 2 3/4. You think I'm going to refinance at 6%?
Not one bit.
They're out of their mind. But again, the public doesn't care. We go back to that. We live by the month. Most people, if they can afford the monthly payment, they don't worry about if they're going to lose their job. They don't worry about anything else. If I can afford that payment, I'm getting a new house. I'm getting a new car, whatever it happens to be. And that will be the eventual meltdown in this market. It'll be very similar to 2008. We're seeing a lot of the same characteristics repeat themselves, just like in 1987. There was a lot of warning signs 6, 7, 8 months before the final bell was rung. And we're seeing the same thing now.
Yeah, and Elon Musk just mentioned it several times. Don't worry about saving for the future because, quite frankly, there's no future to worry about, and we'll all be on UBI. So
we'll be in socialism, and it's nice when you're a multi-billionaire on your way to a trillionaire that you can talk like that, because that the upper end of the scale, all those guys would love nothing more than to see universal basic income. They would love nothing more than to see socialism, because at the end of the day, they're in their position. Their money's not going away. They're not going to have to share it with anybody.
Right.
And they're wiping out the potential of any competition coming to the market after that.
Yeah. But there are ways of retaliation, obviously. We don't want to see that, but it is what it is. Okay, before I let you go here, Todd, tell us a little about what you do in your company here.
Well, first of all, we teach people how to hedge. Again, I think, to me, the most important thing you can do as a long-term investor is stay in the market. Okay. Again, I don't think you should be trying to time the market in and out. You and I do it, but I don't think you do it with all of your assets. I think that you're holding on pretty much to what you believe is good. But there are ways to hedge that and protect to an absolute mathematical certainty. I think you should always be looking to invest for the long term. I mean, we know the statistics of the markets are 8.5% year over year. I mean, I like to teach people how to trade. I like to teach people how to benefit from the option market, because there are so many good strategies that you can use in options, and you can trade basically neutral strategies that if the market goes up, you get the benefit from the upside. If the market goes down, you get the benefit from the downside. If the market stays stagnant, you get to collect premium. I mean, that's a pretty good way to go, and that's what we'd like to do. I'm a very neutral trader, because as a floor trader, you weren't looking to take big positions. You were looking for ways to do reversals, conversions, which I know a lot of people won't understand what those words mean, but it's putting together a number of different options to lock in a profit and move on to the next trade.
Yeah, and for those of you out there who don't know, you can click on that button right now. I put it out there, BubbaTrading.com. You can click on it right now. You get to know a little bit more about Bubba. I will put up his website so you can all see what I'm looking at too as well. But click on that button, BubbaTrading.com. You can see it right now. And he shows you, and look, he tells you right there, this is what he does. Got the risk disclaimer there for you, but all the shows he's on, and click on learn more, and obviously you'll get to know a little bit about him and how he does it. And of course, he has been doing this for 40 years, folks.
47, big boy.
47. My God, you got me beat. I've only been doing this for 35, so I totally understand.
Well, I'm older.
All right. Well, it is what it is. All right, Bubba. As always, you can catch Bubba right here on Quasar Markets, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Same bad time, same bad channel. We'll see you right back here on Thursday, Bubba.
Big beat, the man on the street. Thank you.